Hello and welcome back to Bobcat Sports Weekly. This is your host, Nick Brown, and this is episode 11 of the Bobcat Sports Weekly show. And it was a good week for the Bobcats, 3-0 on the week with 2 volleyball wins and a massive Three Rivers District win over the Glenvar Highlanders in football on Friday night. We got you all covered with some highlights and a couple other recaps of this week, and we'll prepare you for this week and next week as we've got Bobcat action coming your way. The Bobcat football team got a big win over the Glenvar Highlanders, 13-7 at Glenvar on Friday night. It was a chilly, pajama-themed night for the student section, and the Bobcats fell early in the game in the first half. With about 4 minutes to go in the first half, it was 7-0. Glenvar Highlanders just ran the ball up and down the field on the first half, and the Bobcats couldn't get anything going on the offensive side. Only 48 total yards of offense with 52 penalty yards, some of them very questionable. However, that's what the cards were dealt for the Bobcats in the first half. A 2-yard touchdown run by Colby Street was the only point scored in the first half. And the Bobcats, unfortunately, were shooting themselves in the foot with 3 turnovers, a fumble, and 2 interceptions thrown by Zane Roop to Nick Seabolt, who actually had both those interceptions for the Highlanders. Set up the Highlanders with good field position, and they capitalized only on one of those mistakes. Bobcats had really good defense, especially in the second half, holding the Highlanders to only 95 total yards in the game. That is a ridiculous stat right there against a very talented offense for the Highlanders. They kept Colby Street, the all-state linebacker and running back, in check. He had the touchdown run, but he said he couldn't get anything going because of the really big and athletic front four by the Bobcats. And that's been noted all year long, obviously, with our defense has been really stacked up front. So the 95 total yards of offense really shut down them, and the game actually came down to a defensive stop. However, we will go over the second half. So the Bobcats came out much more fire in the second half, and it all started with a touchdown from Zane Roop, a 46-yard touchdown run up the sideline in the third quarter. So after that touchdown, the Bobcats got a defensive stop, 3 and out. Zane Roop actually finished with 67 yards on the ground for 14 carries. A little rough of a passing game for him, actually. He only had 1 completion to Jersey Johnson, who made an incredible catch on a back shoulder throw. However, no other completions were made, so a little bit of rough. Besides the 2 interceptions, every other pass hit the turf. So Bobcats couldn't really get anything going in the passing game. However, the run game really came through when needed with, obviously, Zane Roop's 46-yard touchdown I talked about earlier. So the Bobcats came back and with a 3 and out, got the ball back, and were driving down the field. Got stalled out at about the 35-yard line and had to settle for a field goal. And a 46-yard field goal by Connor Litton put them up 10-7. The Bobcats led 10-7 in the third quarter. Next possession, 3 and out again for the Highlanders. The Bobcats got it back around the 50-yarder. Kept driving down the field, and then at the 23-yard line, Zane Roop took off into the end zone for a very athletic touchdown run for a second. However, it was called back for a holding penalty, which also nullified a couple other big-time runs by Jarrell Baylor and Darius. So the Bobcats were, again, shooting themselves in the foot with holding penalties on big runs and big plays all game long. So they called it back. A couple plays later, Bobcats got it down to about the 10-yard line and then had to settle for a 20-yard field goal by Connor Litton again, right down the middle. Bobcats led 13-7 with 5:55 to play. Crunch time then after that. So coming back down the field was Glenvar. A huge run off of a screen play to Colby Street. He had a 35-yard run. However, there was a roughing the passing play after that play. So 15 more yards were tacked onto that one. That was a huge penalty, put him up at the 30-yard line. So Glenvar just kept running the ball, no timeouts called. They wanted to run that clock out, so if they score a touchdown, they could just kick the extra point and win. So Bobcats needed a huge stop, which they got. So the Glenvar reached down to the Bobcats 13, and on 4th and 2, they just need the 2 yards to get in with about 1:20 to go. A big play by, David Woodward, the freshman for the Bobcats, got a huge tackle on 3rd and 4 to bring the Glenvar short of the first down marker to make sure it was 4th down. Bobcat crowd got into it, very loud and rowdy from the away section. Everybody making noise. On 4th and 2, their quarterback, David Woke, passed it over to Colby Street, who caught the ball and then was smacked out after about 2 passes by Tyrell Dobson. It was ruled incomplete, but anybody witnessing that would say that that was a catch. It was a huge play by Tyrell to smack it out of the hands. Talked to them after the game. He said, I went for the tackle, but actually got the hand on the ball. So the ball hit the turf. It was ruled incomplete pass. However, it looked as if it was caught and then a fumble. And after he dropped it, he actually picked it up and ran it a few more yards for the first down. So that was a huge, huge play by Tyrell Dobson to knock it out and make it appear as if he dropped it. Bobcats get their 3rd straight win and remain undefeated in district play. So the Bobcats cruising to a 7-1 record now. With coming up on the slate is another Three Rivers district foe, Floyd County Buffaloes at Floyd. It'll be Friday, so no school Thursday and Friday. So Bobcats will take them on without a school day. So we don't know the theme yet, if there's going to be a theme for the student section. So we'll keep you updated on that one. But right now the Bobcats are looking pretty strong with 3 straight wins and 4-0 in district play, with a big win over Glenvar, who looked to be the toughest opponent on the rest of the schedule until the playoffs. So the Bobcats again get their 3rd straight win with a 13-7 win over the Highlanders and move on to Floyd this Friday coming up. Hope to see you there at Floyd, and go Bobcats. The volleyball team was in action with an away game and a home game this previous week. They traveled to Allegheny on Tuesday and got a 3-0 sweep over the Mountaineers there. Everybody played strong and well there. Fortunately, they didn't make that long drive back and to there. However, it was a victorious night with a big win over the Mountaineers. Then Thursday, we had the Dig Pink annual tradition here at Radford with the fundraiser for breast cancer awareness. The Narrows girl, Narrows cheerleader who has been diagnosed with cancer, attended the game and was honored before the game. Money was raised for Students vs. Cancer, who will go to her, and the kindergartner at Bell Heath, who also has cancer. He was also there in attendance and honored before the game. So both of them will be getting the donations from Student vs. Cancer that was raised at the Dig Pink game. It was a 3-0 sweep over the Glenvar Highlanders. Big wins. Kara and the rest of the hitters, along with Charlie, also played great with a couple monster hits. Also, shout out to Kaylee Reed. She had a 7 straight set point streak there against Glenvar. So she serve. 7 straight serves where the Bobcats scored. So she played a big role in the 3rd set to close it out. And the Bobcats just easy 3-0 sweep, along with big festivities at the Dig Pink. Tons of money was raised, and great turnout from the student section and the crowd in general. And it was just a great night overall for festivities and just raising money for the cancer patients at the girl at Narrows and the student at McCarg, who is a kindergartner who has also been diagnosed with cancer recently. So the Bobcats were 2-0 on the week, and they've got a big slate this week of 2 games. Today, this is Monday. They travel to Carroll County, who beat them in 5 sets. They'll hope to get revenge on the Cavaliers at Carroll County on their own court. So that'd be a huge win over the Cavaliers if they can pull that one off. It was a close game. Last game actually led in the fourth set. Unfortunately, lost the fourth and the fifth set in a close battle. Now, Tuesday will be senior night here in honoring Charlie Dietz and Sadie Hurst alike. They host Floyd County, who unfortunately swept the Bobcats when they traveled up to Floyd. So another big district revenge game for the Bobcats. Hopefully they can go 2-0. Two teams that beat them earlier in the season, but the Bobcats have the talent and the skill to take down both of those opponents. At Carroll County Monday and then senior night on Tuesday. Broadcasting info for Tuesday should be up on Tuesday. Michael Davis and myself should be on the call unless anything else goes haywire. We should be on that for that night, so you'll see that and you'll hear about that after the game. You'll see this after that game. So hopefully it was a good broadcast and a good win. But right now, Bobcats with a daunting two games this week. Carroll County on Monday and Floyd on Tuesday. So successful week for the Bobcats in sports. 3-0 on the week. Volleyball went 2-0, and football went 1-0 against Glenvar. And so the fifth-ranked Bobcats in football will be in action on Friday. You'll see this Wednesday when we upload it. So we hope to see you there on Friday at Floyd to have another good away cheering section. And volleyball with the two games this week. You unfortunately see this after those two games. So hopefully the Bobcats went 2-0 when you see us as they take on two tough opponents in their district. Successful week last week. Bobcats look to go 3-0 again this week. And just overall, a short week for the students. Everybody's happy here in the school, and hopefully you are too viewing this. Thank you again for tuning in on Bobcat Sports Weekly. This has been the 11th episode. Hopefully it's another joyous week next week, another 3-0 week. So thank you again for everything and all the support you've given us. So unfortunately, Ethan Bishop was not here today. He also is still recovering from his wisdom teeth still being taken out. So he's here in spirit. But overall, Bobcats, good week last week. Hopefully another good week this week. We'll be back. Ethan will be back next week on following Friday. So you can tune into that one. Check out our previous videos as the Bobcats are looking to stay successful this season as they are gearing up for the winter sports also coming up, and cross country winding down also with regions in the state tournament in the coming weeks. So again, thank you again for watching, and go Bobcats.